Warm greetings and welcome to Metaphysical Awakenings with Barbara
and Eric.
Today's episode is very special and it's entitled Light Shines on Truth Finally.
The light shining upon the truth, finally.
When you first shared this with me, I thought it was going a very different direction than what you started saying. And after that, I was like, whoa, this is a different light shining on a different truth that I did not expect. And finally.
Yeah, and finally. Well, as you know, I've been traveling like a maniac. I started in Savannah to see my sister, and then I went to Tennessee for a Spirit Fest, and then I went to Arkansas to meet with my bio family, my dad's side, my little sister, and during the time of traveling, I listened to interviews, and this one was one of my favorite people. I've followed him for 20 years. His name is Scott Wolter, Wolter, and he is a seeker of truth. Wherever it takes him, he speaks it. If he's wrong, I'm wrong. If he doesn't know, he says, I don't know. But that lights his fire to go find more truth. Did something pop in for you?
Yeah, seekers of truth. I feel like people who me and you most resonate with are those same people who are seekers of truth. They're not exclaiming to say, hey, I know every single thing and how exactly works.
Yeah.
But instead, they are on that path, that guide to find the truth that they know. So that really resonates with me. And I'm not familiar with that person. Okay. So I look forward to hearing more.
Wonderful. He is a forensic geologist, and he's been called for years on crime scenes to more or less rate a rock, find out how old the rock is, how long has it been there, has it been meddled with, and that led him to the Kensington Stone, which was etched by the Knights Templar and found in Minnesota. That was his big find. I know. And within the Kensington Stone, it was written in code, but there were the hooked X's. And that was the sign of the Templars. If you follow Oak Island or anything that is showing you, at the minute discoveries and things like that, and you go and you seek, you will find this ongoing pattern where things keep coming back to the Knights Templar. Well, weren't they the people who were protecting Jerusalem?
I thought they were over in Europe or maybe Asia, right? So, like, for you to say that they were in Minnesota in, like, 400 years before what we commonly know people to have arrived there, that's pretty wild.
That's a blinger, isn't it? Well, that's part of the story that I'm going to share with you that I got through Scott Wolter. And I want to first of all and most of all say that I seek truth, period. I get bits and pieces from spirit through I'm a seer, which means I know, I feel, I see. That's all well and fine. Mm-hmm. But I get pieces and parts of things. And I was listening to this interview where Scott Wolter, hold on to your hats, by following Templar clues and going to relatives who had things in safekeeping until those Templars of today showed up. I know, face, right? Templars and the Masonic are kind of intertwined there. Our friend Don Zangi was a Templar Knight.
Wow. And just for clarification, what is a Knights Templar? Or like what's their purpose? Or like what's their goal of being that?
Right. So they were supposedly protecting Jerusalem and the homeland They were protecting the bloodline. They were protecting the truth of what Jesus, known as Yeshua, what that truly was. And little by little, they collected these things and they hid them here and there and everywhere. And when they knew that the temple, King Solomon's temple, was going to get socked, they moved a lot of that out. In 1307, when they were being executed.
Got it. So they were like preservers or like historians of the truth to keep this going on whenever all these terrible things happened that could have erased this.
Correct. With their lives.
Huh.
They protected all of this with their lives. And I have to hand it to Scott Wolter. When he found out about the Templars and the Masons, he joined them. He rose to the very top of the Masons. Then he became a Templar Knight. And he and his friend Tim, oh my gosh, what's the last name? Hold it. Sorry. Tim is the leader of the Masonic, or of the Templars at this time. And they have had several conversations, which are on YouTube as well. Here's what I'm going to get to. Years and years ago, it came forth that Jesus didn't die at the crucifixion. Am I being heretical? Am I being awful? No, I am not. Because there is now physical proof that Jesus went on, because Scott Wolter found a scroll written in Jesus's hand.
Okay. Continue.
So all of these secrets, protecting the bloodline, protecting the relics, the information that's come down through tens of thousands of years, were put in the arks of the covenant. Were there stone tablets? Oh yeah. Were there bones of the Holy Family? Yes. Were there secrets, hold on to your hats, of Atlantis? 100%. It was said by I believe the Ethiopian church has one, and they keep it taken care of and hidden and protected at all times.
Okay.
And it is known that if they pick it up and look underneath, they instantly die. That is not because they're being bad, good, or anything else. It's because of apparently the radiation that comes out of this communication device, which came from Atlantean times, which, let's just trying to bring it all together to put it on my Tesla had it right. Tesla had it right.
Mm-hmm.
The earth gives off free energy. And the Atlanteans had all of that. They could communicate with anyone, anywhere. All of that information was saved down the line through the Masons, believe it or not. And I know this is so very hard to swallow, but I invite you to go online, look up Scott Wolter, and underneath his name, type in the 8 scrolls of Jesus. That interview will pop right up, and I want you all to watch it. Take it or leave it. If this is not for you, turn the page. It's okay. I'm a seeker. Oh my God, Eric, the things, I'm going to cry. The things that he was talking about were things that Spirit had told me for years and years that just didn't make any sense to me at all. None of it. What about the Younger Dryas? What are you trying to tell me? What was the power within the Younger Dryas, and what was this? Atlantis? Okay, Atlantis. Lemuria? Okay, God, bring it all together, but I couldn't bring it together. Scott, in one fell swoop with this interview with a Lakota native named Aubrey, He just spewed it all out, and I'm shaking on my steering wheel going, oh my God, I get it. You trust me with the truth. I understand it now. Here's the hard part, and it's very hard. Those who don't or can't understand don't have really the ability to just let things lie. They want to go out and hurt and kill the messengers. And this is what has happened for so many thousands of years. Here's the story. It was proposed that when Jesus was crucified, he did not die. He lay in the tomb, and blessedly the spear that had gone into his side that would or should have hit his intestines and caused him to die in that moment missed the intestines, and he had the ability to heal himself. I'm going to leave that right there for now.
Got it. So they might have thought that he was dead by being maybe passed out or...
Very, very close to dead. Slowed everything down, no breathing, very little pulse that, back then, how do you measure pulse? I don't know.
Right. The medicine back then, I mean, he probably looked very dead at that point.
Absolutely he did. And it was to everyone's satisfaction they rolled up the stone. On the third day, he's quoted as saying, "My wife came and got me."
Wife?
Mary Magdalene. Think about the old days. If you were a rabbi, which he was, and so was John the Baptist, you had to have a wife. Here's another one you're going to have to hold on to your hat. Mary Magdalene was married to John the Baptist first. They had a son.
Whoa.
John the Baptist was beheaded. Coming down the bloodline, what has to happen is they marry within the family. And the power of the priesthood or the rabbi comes through the feminine side. So Mary, having Jesus related to John the Baptist, Mary Magdalene then marries Jesus. Okay? I know how hard this is to take, believe me. But this is what I was told 30 years ago. And bits and pieces have been coming ever since. And I just keep it to myself because I don't want them killing the messenger yet.
What do you mean by told 30 years ago?
I learned this through another source 30 years ago.
Oh, I see.
Through my seeking through Gnosis, the Gnostics. And the book of Philip, the book of John, the book of Mary Magdalene, and the book of Thomas are very, very telltale. You will find answers in there of what I'm speaking right now. So on the third day, let's just pick it. I know. Look at your face.
No, I'm taking this all in. This is one of my favorite episodes so far because I'm learning so much and downloading so much new information that I'm really trying to understand.
Absolutely. And at the end...
And not in a way from being based in fear.
Oh, see, that takes care of everything. Because you're not afraid.
Because a lot of what you said, I mean, for a lot of people, it might make very fearful.
It will turn what is known as our faith on its ear. But I have always followed the Christian way. I haven't stopped. I am open. My way, my truth, my light came through Jesus. He was my way shower. I still adhere to that, and I love that. That's my way to God, right? Just because there are things that are changing doesn't change my faith and my love for Jesus or God at all. In fact, it draws them into my heart even more so because God's been giving me these bits and pieces for years. And I'm going to have to go back through my pages and pages of notes. When it came through little one, this is important. And I would write it out. Ooh, okay. On the third day, he rose from the dead. The stone was removed, and Mary Magdalene collected him. And I forget who else was there. There was a couple of disciples there. Anyway, they whisked him off to France. And you will find in France many temples dedicated to Mary Magdalene. To just I ask you to find your own truth in this. Don't believe me. Follow, seek, look. See where it takes you. Just please don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of the truth. So they wind up from France, they go to Scotland. And they live out their lives preaching in Scotland, which is, there's an area called Bannock. I haven't had time to look all of this up yet, but it was in the interview with Scott. And a big part of this are those beautiful Templars who dedicated their lives to the truth and protected them and the bloodline fiercely. On October 13th in 1307, they sought to erase the Templars, and they were out and out murdered. And the main Templar guy, and I hate that I'm not going to come up with his name, I should have written it down, but he was slowly roasted at the stake by the Catholic Church.
Wow.
This is all history. That's why we're always, Friday the 13th. Well, that's where this originated. Yes, sir. So I'm not making this stuff up, you guys. I'm not. I don't think I have that in me to tell quite the story, but here's another really cool part of it. As the Templars were being persecuted, they had to get all of the arks, and there were many, okay, out of the area, and they went over to the Northland, over the sea to the north, the new Northland, which was North America, the new Atlantis, there was no delineation between Canada and America at the time, and so forth and so on. And this is before Christopher Columbus moved in and raped and pillaged and really abused the first people, the indigenous people. But they went over and they became brothers with the Algonquin nation, okay? The Algonquin First Natives treated them as brothers. They have many of the same rituals. The Masonic rituals and the Native American rituals are very much the same, which is another clue. But what happened here is, the Algonquins said to the Templar, "You are our brother. If these are important to you, we will hide them for you." And some of it was silver and gold, which, by the way, was what paid for the Revolutionary War so America could win. Gotta look that up too. That was buried, but so were the different arcs. And there were menorahs, Shakespeare, all kinds of very, very important pieces of history which told the truth. One point which is very, very interesting is Leonardo da Vinci, who is the head of the Knights Templar at that time. You don't know that. But he painted into his paintings messages and clues and signs. The Virgin at the Rocks. I want you to look at that painting because there's two. The first painting has an older female in blue, a younger female in orange and green, and two small children playing at the rocks by the water. And that's supposed to be John the Baptist and Jesus. It can't be John the Baptist and Jesus, because the younger female is Mary Magdalene in orange for the place in France, which are clues from Leonardo. And the green, hold on to your hats, the green because she was a Celtic priestess or goddess, and she had auburn hair.
Wow.
Look at the original painting.
Yeah, Leonardo da Vinci had so much symbolism and decoding, and it's still, he was almost 700 years ago, and still scholars are trying to figure out what is he depicting.
Right.
So, like, what a genius. And that makes a lot of sense if he was one of the Knights Templars, because he had this knowledge, and this knowledge was willing to be shared with those who could understand, but also at the same time hidden from those who couldn't. Just kind of like Jesus Christ, the way that he spoke. It resonated with people who were ready to understand that, and then just bewildered those who weren't able to get it.
And didn't get it. But the church got a hold of Leonardo and forced him to make a different version of Virgin on the Rocks. It made the younger female into an archangel and the two children into little cherubs, and took out a lot of that color.
Wow.
So it was not discernible.
Changing things up. Barbara, earlier you were sharing with me that you had written down something, and you started reading some of it earlier. And typically on podcasts we don't like to just read things out, but this one kind of felt special. Are you feeling called to maybe recite what this is?
Yeah, I'll jump over to it. I want to show everybody, though. I want you to go and look at this yourself. This is Scott Wolter, and preparing to release everything. This is my way, our way of bringing you truth, so that it's not such a brain popper when you do watch it. I've watched it 5 times.
Got it. And I think in our description, we can also include the direct link over there for that.
Okay, so...
Yeah, only if you're feeling led.
I'm okay. This was April 16th at 7:51 p.m. I know I was still on the road. I was heading toward a hotel somewhere. Anyway, I am and always have been, always will be, a seeker of truth. Knowing the truth can be very eye-opening, very awe-inspiring, and occasionally very intimidating. I've personally been given little bits and pieces of what is coming through Spirit, through God. My instructions have been to help anyone willing to know and live in truth and disseminate any fear of understanding what truly is. Never be afraid of the truth. I have known for 30 plus years that Jesus, Yeshua, lived through the crucifixion, and the third day his wife Mary came and got him. They did live a life in France first, and then Scotland, along with I forgot to mention this, their 2 children. A little boy first, his name is Judah. Little girl named Sarah. And I only recently learned those names. Am I being heretical? Am I crazy? Have I lost every last possible brain cell that I have? No, I have not. What I have gained is verification of what Spirit has been feeding to me for the past 30 years of my life. There are many of us, seers, listening for years, taking the mantle, trying to eliminate a fear-based civilization and prepare those who would listen to the truth and the real light of God. For too long, people have been slain, out and out murdered for speaking the truth of what is. Our brothers and sisters, the first people, have been the keeper of the case of the truth of the universe forever. Well, if they've held all this information all that time, why haven't they said anything? Well, what happened to anybody else, even recently, who's telling the truth about interdimensionaries or proof on the ups that actually have the information that maybe there's something to people of other origins living among us? But they wind up dead. What chance would an indigenous person have? Well, if they've held that information all that time, why hadn't they said anything? Because they didn't want to die. Anyway, there are too many people on the earth plane who know the truth now.
Yep.
The gathering of the ancestors has tapped their children and their children's children's children to now put on a brave face and speak the truth. I've known also that there were many arks of the covenant which were brought over from the Holy Land by the Templars. And what I wanted to say with this comes to an end. I said within these arks was information that was carried from the Younger Dryas period and before, and protected by the order of the Templar Knights. And that's where I dropped it.
Thank you for sharing. Wow, Barbara, this is so much new information. Like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that there's the idea of more than one Ark of the Covenant, but that makes so much sense. I mean, if a Ark of the Covenant is there to secure information, then why not make a few of those and make duplicates in order so that information can be preserved indefinitely?
They could have some that would be maybe have nothing and throw people off track. This is very, very, very powerful information about Jesus and his life and his family and his works. And, some of these arcs were brought over to Oak Island. That show is right on the beam with finding the bits and pieces. The sad part is that in the 1700s, many of the Templars came over from Scotland and moved a lot of the arcs and the information and the things that they were keeping secreted there. Is it all been moved? I don't know. I still think there might be a couple of really cool things to uncover. But what about all those cool maps that they have found?
Certain maps that, like, they couldn't prove that, like, those were the geography until, like, 500 years past. They're like, well, how do people know about those? Yeah, I think people have discovered things sooner than modern day history has given credit to, whether it's due to losing it or perhaps just hiding it. And it goes back to that kind of the idea of fear. A lot of people who were in power were fearful about certain new enlightenment happening because it would dismantle what control and power that they have.
A lot of that is so, so very true. And, I really pray that as all of this comes to pass, I'm going to take Scott's thunder from him and really blow your mind and leave it.
All right, go for it.
Within these maps that were found, through the searching of the people in Oak Island, it upholds the things that Scott Wolter also uncovered, and one of which was hidden between two families of Templars. And there was one person still alive that could help them, and his first name was Don. So they asked his permission, and Scott and a few of his most trusted people went and found all of that information and created a plan, a map to go find something that was still buried. Now, this was buried on the North American continent. It's buried on an island where nobody has ever inhabited it. It's just all kinds of trees and this sort of thing, but it happens to be in the Adirondacks of New York. His team, not with Don, who was that guy because he'd been in an accident, which was very sad that he couldn't see it to fruition, but with the maps and searching tools. Very long story short, he pulled up a jar with a copy of the actual handwriting of Jesus, Yeshua. And they spent 2 days discerning all of that. I strongly, strongly, strongly suggest you go watch that interview by Scott Wolter, Wolter. Aubrey, I don't remember his last name, he's a Lakota native. And, all you have to put is the scroll, Jesus's scroll, or the 8 scrolls, because he references many. But what he did, Eric, was he always followed the truth. He always followed the clues. He was never put off when something was wrong. That's okay. Let's go back to where we could prove. Everything that he has is tangible and here can be proven. Are you ready? In a court of law.
Wow. Well, my curiosity is tingling, and I can't wait to do some more research on that. And thank you so much for sharing this, Barbara, because I can tell how heartfelt and how meaningful it is for you to making some connections as far as what you already knew with what someone else also was able to confirm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not a crazy woman who's heard these voices in my head all these years. I'm a true seer, and I'm just the messenger. I don't, of myself, I'm still just the messenger. But my job on this planet, and yours too, because you've been with me for so long, our goal on this podcast is to remove fear of truth. Shine God's perfect, beautiful, holy light on what the truth of us truly is. And there's so much more coming.
Absolutely. Yeah. Stay curious, stay open, knowing that if you're guided by source, by God, and have the correct heart of wanting to grow closer, that sometimes you're going to have questions, and sometimes new information is going to present things that can be a bit scary. Yes. Maybe even fearful, but right. It's our job as divine beings of this wonderful creator to work through that and say, wait, is it something that I truly need to be fearful, or is it something I should look into more to know the greater truth? And it's a journey.
It's a journey. The fear, if there is fear, is man-made. Remember that. It's man-made. God does not create fear. In my life, not once, not ever. Discernment is yours.
Absolutely. And one thing that works really well for me anytime I'm feeling fearful is just the prayer for protection.
Yeah.
And just knowing that you are always guided, and you don't even have to pray this. All you have to know is that you are guided, but sometimes it just helps to have a mantra or just a saying that just gets you to that place and allows you to center. So let's go ahead and do this together.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
We love you all so much, and we'll see you for the next episode of Metaphysical Awakenings.
Bye-bye, y'all.